Welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast, where our mission is to help you heal yourself so you can heal the world. Hi, my name is Noah Crane. Each week, we will bring you tips and tools and inspire you to live your most empowered and joyful life. I am also the founder of the 3G Effect Mindset, a daily practice to keep you heart-centered in everything you do by taking three very important actions and practicing three very important elements. Number one, every day, have a grateful heart and connect to your gratitude. When you're connected to your gratitude and a grateful heart, you're in a place of connecting to positive feelings and positive emotions, and therefore you're able to eliminate those feelings and emotions, the negative emotions that are not serving you, and also able to remove more fears. So every day, ask yourself as you start your day, what am I grateful for? Because when you're in a place of gratitude, you will be in a place of flow, a place of abundance, a place of happiness and joy. And that's where we want you to be every single day. Element number two, every day make sure that you are grounded in love and compassion. First, to be grounded, to be rooted in yourself, to be anchored, right? Unshakable and strong within yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, not let anybody take away your peace, happiness, and love, right? And then to learn to have love and compassion for yourself, because it all starts with you, to be able to be in a place of releasing judgment, a place of self-love, self-forgiveness, acceptance, right? When you come to that place, you're also able to give that and extend that love and forgiveness and compassion to other people as well, because any work that you do within yourself, you're able to extend it to others. So one of the ways that I say to do that every day, we all know the world is round and energy moves in a round circle. So put out hearts every day, hearts emojis, send people love. I truly believe whatever you put out in the world will come back to you tenfold. So if you want more love and compassion, guess what? You gotta give out more love and compassion every single day. And number three, know that you are guided by God. So whatever it is for me, I call it God. For you, it may be universe, spirit, higher power, energy. Whatever it is for you, it doesn't matter. What matters is you have a connection to something outside of yourself, right? That you have faith and trust in yourself and have faith and trust in your journey. I believe that God is inside you. He's a part of you because He created you. God is beside you. God is all around you. So learn to open your heart and soul to God. Ask God for guidance on your journey. Thank God every day for all the miracles and all the guidance and support on the journey. So thank God every day. God will send you messages and messengers in ways that you never could imagine to help guide you on the journey. Your job is just to become a good listener and be able to open yourself up to new experiences and new things and to the guidance of God, knowing that a rejection might just be a new direction in your life. It's not a bad thing. It's actually something to look as a gift. I see rejection as a gift. So the gift of rejection, rejection, the guidance, it's all here to help you elevate and become the best version of yourself, because you're here to grow and become the best version of you. I do this work every single day, intentionally, and that work has changed my life. And I have been able to create an incredible life, find my soulmate, and create so many miracles every single day and be present to them, right? Because the presence is the present. So keep doing your work, keep doing those things, and you'll see how your life will transform. Today, I want to talk to you about a really important subject, which is we always talk about healing because it's heal yourself, heal the world, but also healing, doing the shadow work to help you heal, going deep into those dark places that are not always comfortable to help you heal through the journey. And my guest has done a lot of that, and that's why I'm so excited she's here. Laura Wall is a spiritual life coach, speaker, podcast host, and best-selling author as well. She's a Reiki practitioner and the founder of Heart Healing Center, a nonprofit organization devoted to bring more love, light, and healing to the world. Laura, welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast.
Thank you, Noah. I feel like there should be some fanfare when you say that, like da, 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 da,
Right?
da.
So excited to have you here with us today. Um, so Laura, I wanted to, we want to talk today about doing the deeper work. How did you get interested in shadow work and doing that deep emotional work?
Oh, I love that word interested because I was not necessarily looking for it. And I think for many of us, we're not necessarily saying, shadow work sounds gritty and dirty and hard, and there's a lot of crying. Yes, sign me up. But instead, I feel like shadow work came and found me. And what I believe about healing is whatever is coming to you or whatever is coming through you, there is a divine timing in it. You are able to handle what that is at that time. So for me, it actually started a little bit before 2023. One of my dear friends puts on yoga retreats, and she always has a topic. And it always seems that as soon as she names the topic, my subconscious brain goes, we got to prep for this. We got to get ready. And so earlier in 2022, she said, we're going to have a women's retreat and we're going to do shadow work. And I was like, cool. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll see. So that began a beautiful and challenging journey through a lot of emotions, a lot of personal growth, and a lot of healing. So for me, it just started showing up in um, triggers. And I think the word trigger has been thrown around a lot. There is neuroscience behind it. And basically, what it means is your brain sees things in the environment, it kind of digests them in, and it goes and it checks with memories. And it's like, ooh, we've been here before and it was painful. And then you might have a wildly emotional experience that you're not really even in control of because you are in a different part of your brain. You are in your pre-verbal brain usually. And so we can be really overwhelmed by something that seems minor to everyone else. So that's what happened to me. I was at a party with some friends and I was having what I thought was a good time. And then all of a sudden, I was not having a good time. I was having a really bad time. And I actually became almost mute. I could not speak. I couldn't express what was going on. I had a lot of energy moving through my body. I had a lot of fear. I had a lot of anxiousness. I had a lot of images coming to my mind. But I really couldn't express myself. And all I could do was go to someone that I felt was safe and to try to get some help and to get away from kind of the scene of the trigger. And again, I say that with love because the people that were around me were loving friends. They weren't like poking at me or trying to trigger me or trying to upset me. It was just something that happened to me that brought awareness to a huge area that I needed to start working on, looking at. And again, shadow work is where we shine a light into some parts of ourselves that we're just unaware. They're not bad, they're not dark, they're not evil. It's just lack of awareness that we don't realize that they're there, but it's in us at a deep subconscious level.
That makes a lot of sense. So, can you give us a little bit of like people that don't really know what shadow work is? How would you like
Sure.
explain it to them?
Sure. So I would say that let's take for example one of the things that I got triggered on was around the need to feel special.
Mhm.
And so again, was that written somewhere on a piece of paper? You know, am I wearing a shirt that says I want to feel special? No, it was deep, deep, dark inside of me. And as I began to do some work around it, I came to realize that from my family of origin, there was times where I felt unseen and unacknowledged by my family. And as a result, I internalized the message that I wasn't special.
Mhm.
And so, shadow work, again, it is things that are programmed at a subconscious level. These are things about ourselves that we're not aware of. And sometimes they're the truth, but most of the time, I would say they are a version of the truth. They're usually somewhat distorted because depending on our emotional age at the time we have, at the time that we make a memory around something, a lot of times we are not accurately recording it. So, if you have a car accident and there's three witnesses, you're going to hear one that says, "Oh, yeah, they ran the red light." You're going to hear another one that says, "No way, they paused. They stopped at the red light." No. And then someone else is going to say, "It was a yellow light." So, our subconscious, when it is forming a memory, it gathers the information that keeps us safe. And so that could be the most inflammatory emotional part of the memory. And it holds on to that, and it may forget some other details that are actually the truth. So I define shadow work is looking at your own belief systems that may be holding you back, or stories that you're telling about yourself that are limiting you and may not be the truth.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? So let me ask you a question. When you started doing, how did it all of a sudden come up that you needed to do shadow work? I mean, you were living your life, you were doing what you're doing. I know that it's stored in your subconscious. So do you just all of a sudden something hits you? Is it like some kind of like something that triggers an old memory that all of a sudden gets you triggered where you realize like, oh my God, there's something going on here that I need to look deeper into it?
I think, like I said, most people don't actively pursue shadow work. It is now becoming more of a topic of conversation. There are people within the spiritual field that are helping facilitate this. Human consciousness is evolving. So, of course, as we are getting um, more healed and brighter and lighter beings, we're going to get rid of some of the old stuff. So for me, part of it was someone was talking about shadow work. I read a little bit about it. And then when I got triggered, I was like, these emotions in my body feel awful. How do I not have this happen again? Just like putting your hand on a hot stove. You know that something's gone really wrong, and then you're trying to figure out how to prevent it. So that diving into the shadow work is looking at how can I rewrite the script or reprogram or understand myself better. And that's really part of the journey for me as I was doing it. I wanted to understand where they came from. I wanted to understand how they were written, because it's a script that I've been playing in my head quite a bit. And then I understand that I am the conscious creator of my reality. So I knew that I could rewrite the script. I just wasn't quite sure of how to do that.
So how were you able to, once you realized that you have these unhealed emotions, what was the next step?
The next step was a lot of crying. A lot of, I call it hermiting or introverting, where you stay indoors and you don't interact with other humans other than maybe your pets and your trusted humans in your inner circle. There was a lot of phone calls with my close friends to help me kind of sort through. Again, I kind of think of it like a car accident. I needed their perspective of what happened, and just people listening to me as I was trying to process all that went through. Um, I also spent a lot of time journaling. And one of your G's, I turned to my greater power, my divine creator, God, and I prayed a lot and meditated a lot because there was something that was beyond me that I couldn't understand, and I needed more guidance. I needed more information to drop in and again shine a light in those dark areas of myself that I didn't understand, so I could look at them without them hurting me, and I could accept them, and I could grow from them, and then take the next step, which is kind of rewriting how I think about myself or changing my self concept so that I love and accept those parts and recognize that they're normal. They're normal human needs, the triggers that I had.
Did something happen, like a certain event that happened that besides the fact that your friend was doing the shadow work yoga, was there anything that happened that really triggered that for you?
Yes, I was at a party with some friends, and the activities that were going on at that time really kind of became a pressure cooker. And then all of a sudden, and again, no one was hurting me, harming me, talking down to me. There was nothing negative happening. It was just like all of a sudden I was hit by like a tidal wave of all kinds of emotions and crazy, crazy thoughts. And all I really wanted to do was run out of the building. I wanted to run away. from the pain. But I know from other times that I've worked through some different healing that what I needed to do was look for help from someone else that I trusted and to be with what was coming up. I could tell that there was something about it that was for me to learn from, even though it was excruciating.
Well, okay, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So somebody listening and they're like, what could happen at a party that would make her feel this way, right? So
Mhm.
was there like a specific, like, did you feel pressured by something? What was the specific kind of trigger that
Oh,
you
it was
felt?
well, it was my birthday,
Uh-huh.
and someone that I love and care about greatly was getting all the attention, and I wasn't. It's
Oh,
that simple.
wow. Is that amazing?
I know. And again, I when I say that out loud, I kind of feel like I'm 8 years old. Like, I want it to be my party. I want everybody to like
Sure.
me and bring me presents. And I realized, through my own healing process that my inner child, my little 8-year-old, didn't get the birthday party she
Uh-huh.
wanted. And as a
Mm,
result, as an adult, I walked into that party with unrealistic expectations that were
mm,
stored at a deep level. And when they came to when they didn't get met, again, my body and mind complex threw the most giant fit I could possibly have to get my attention, so I didn't
mm.
have to keep going through that pattern. That's not a great pattern.
Mm. I love that you said that, okay, because that really clears up things for people. Because I was like, what could happen? Like I was going like, what could have happened at the party? But
Yeah.
that's a great explanation. So what I hear from it is that your inner child was kind of running the show. So you had to do also not just the shadow work, but also the inner child work, right? Would you say that as well?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. I feel like they are tied very closely together. Some of the triggers or traumas can be related to childhood. And
Yeah.
again, trauma and triggers can be related to any time of your life. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, almost I had five of them.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, when my higher self decides to help me do shadow work, we're going to load up. We're going to do all the subjects. We're going to go to junior high and take, five or six things all at once to learn our lessons.
Mm. I think that's so great because, processing those things and realizing it's like looking at yourself and realizing like I don't like the way I behaved. Like I don't like, what's going on right here. I want to do better. I want to be better, I want to be a better version of myself, a better person. Why am I being triggered by these things that really I shouldn't be triggered? I'm an adult. Why am I triggered by these, and it's amazing how, our past can influence our present right now?
Yeah, and again, we appear to be
Mhm.
grown adults, right?
Mhm.
Operating in the world,
Yes.
but we have former versions of
Mhm.
ourselves, sometimes with unfinished business. Sometimes my bratty, rebellious teenager comes out when my husband and I get into a discussion. Sometimes my inner child throws a fit. So there are parts of ourselves that do come out, and sometimes, like you said, we don't like it, and we want to change that behavior. And so digging a little deeper to see, where did that come from? How did that get started? Because all of our behavior, all of our outward behavior is related to what we've learned in our past, the habits that we've created around that, our behavior habits, our thought patterns, our emotions. And so it's a little tricky, but it can be undone. It can be rewritten, and we can, like you said, become a better version of ourselves. It does take a lot of self-compassion and love. And sometimes that can be the lesson in and of itself. Because when I look at who I was on that day, I'm like, oh, what a hot mess express. I wonder what the rest of the people at the party thought. Like, oh my gosh, that girl's crazy. And again, in the moment, I wasn't in my state of mind. I wasn't in the present. I was in the past. And I probably did appear to be really overwrought and not myself. That's all true. That's not a judgment. That's the truth. And I can say that now with love and compassion because I was so overwhelmed by what was going on in my mind that those behaviors came forward, the crying, the kind of throwing a fit behaviors. And again, that's not who I want to be every day, but I recognize now that had to come forward so I could heal it. Again, and those of us that do healing work, it's not my favorite saying, but it feels really true. You do have to feel it to heal it.
Definitely. And, it seems like you have to raise your consciousness too, because if you're not conscious about it, you could have just been like okay with it and not conscious about it and being like, oh, I'm fine and I'm right, right? And it's about letting the ego go too and being like, being vulnerable and being open to even share that, right? Because
Yeah.
you sharing that will help so many people be able to process their own things because we all have that part of us that can be immature at times or that part of us that needs healing, that needs growing, and it's not, and the healing's never done, right, Laura? Would you agree with me? There's always another level and a deeper place to go to be able to elevate ourselves to the next level. So it's that constant healing and growing through things to be able to do better and be better.
I would say that's one of the tricky bits about the healing work is once you recognize that there's many layers and many levels and again you're active participant and you choose to, you can go deeper, you can find more things. There are some people that choose not to grow and choose not to heal, and that's okay as well.
Mm-hmm.
um, but yes, there's always things that we can learn and change about ourselves, and that's what's, I think, so amazing about being a human is no matter who you are today, in 5 years, you could be completely different. I could be a marathon runner in 5 years. I
Mm-hmm.
could be going back to college and getting a PhD in 5 years. We have the capacity to change.
It's exciting. It's exciting and exhilarating because, we have, like you said, that ability and that capacity, and we just have to have the will there to want to do it. So once you're able to process through those emotions, you're noticing that the inner child was running this show, maybe the 8-year-old you, it wasn't you, right? Once you're able to process that, what other things did you notice that you were working through?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I do want to touch on something about the consciousness level. If you went back even like 2 years and this came up, I think a former version of myself probably would have ignored all of this and rejected it and blamed everyone around me. And I think because of other things I've done, I finally was at the place where I could be honest with myself. And also the community that I have around me was so loving and kind to hold enough space to let me look at it without the fear of shame. So that made a huge difference. Um, what I did on my own, other than a lot of informal talk therapy with friends, I have a lot of coach friends.
Mhm.
um, I I trusted the way I was guided. So one of the things that a friend sent me was an inventory, a survey that is by Tony Robbins' organization. I've studied Tony Robbins since the 80s, so I know he's got good stuff that's timeless. And this was a very simple survey about basic human needs. Because what I recognized as I was kind of coming through that is I had some needs that weren't getting met, and it looked like they weren't getting met at that party, but that wasn't really the truth. They
Mhm.
weren't getting met back when I was younger or throughout my life.
Mhm.
So when I did this inventory of myself, assessment of myself, and looked at all those human needs, and it does tell you like what is your primary human need. But I looked at all of them and I recognized that there were 5 of them
Mhm.
that were not getting met in my adult life.
Mhm.
And that was pretty powerful for me. That was pretty gut wrenching too. And there was the deconstruction of the shame around it. So again, I'll go back to the one of feeling special. We all have a need to feel special and unique. And that is something that, some people can, we might have been taught from our family or from religion that we're not supposed to shine our own light. We're not supposed to brag. And so we're resisting being who we are. And as a result, we don't be authentic. And then we don't get acknowledged for being authentic or being real or being special. And so it kind of gets pushed down. So once I was able to look at those human needs and acknowledge these are real, all humans have them, not just Laura Wall throwing a fit.
Mhm.
All humans have these, and it's okay. This is how we're made. This is how we're designed. It's okay to have them. And the reason you have needs, I truly believe that any desire or need that is put on your heart, that is something that God has placed there. So when I looked at those very honestly, I recognized I had needs that were not getting met in my adult life, and it stemmed from my childhood. Then I was able to say, okay, something's missing. How do I find a way to meet that need that is healthy and wholesome and doesn't only serve me, but serves others? And again, that's my personal philosophy is what's going to be fulfilling is not just getting my own need met. It feels a lot better when that need can serve others. And again, I'll go back to the one that's special. So for me, when I realized I need to feel special, I need to feel seen, I asked myself, what were you missing in childhood? Well, I was missing interaction with my parents and for them to verbally acknowledge me or listen to me or ask me what's going on, um, to be more involved in my life, to see me, to acknowledge my unique qualities or my abilities. And so I asked myself, how can I get that as an adult? And I realized I can do that for myself. I can acknowledge myself when I'm doing a great job. I can also ask for feedback from friends and acquaintances. So if I teach a workshop or if I teach a retreat or if I go on a podcast coincidentally, I can go to my friends and say, what did you enjoy? Please give me some feedback, positive or, things that I can adjust. That helps remind me I am special. I am unique. I am an individual because I'm hearing it from people who love me and want me to improve, but they're also acknowledging the qualities in me that make me Laura Wall, a unique individual.
Mhm. I love that. It seems like a lot of it you were missing was a lot of emotional connection, right? An emotional acknowledgement, would you say?
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm not here to cast any roles of villains for my family or for anyone else. We all have I truly believe that we have chosen all of the people in our life on some soul level to be teachers for us. And so when we are, again, if there's some deficiency in some area, that's really just highlighting something that you get to choose how to resolve. And so my parents were very involved with their my sister who had a lot of needs medically, and as a result, they did the very best job they could. I got dance lessons. My dad tutored me in high school. Like it's not like I was stuck in a room and completely ignored. There were just some things at an emotional level that I didn't get, and maybe they didn't have the capacity to give to me at that time because, again, they're human and we all mess up. There's times I've been a horrible friend. There's times I've been a very not good wife because I wasn't available to give my emotional self to those people.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I had a similar thing with my daughter. My daughter is 17 now, and I've always thought that I provided her everything, gave her a lot of love, which I always gave my kids. I was a pleaser mom, always giving, giving, giving. But what she needed more was more of me emotionally, more of me being present to her, more of me getting in her world deeper. And she actually expressed that to me, and I had to work more on myself to be able to show up more. And I think feel like my daughter's like my biggest teacher.
Mhm.
She calls me out on everything. So I mean, I basically she calls me out on everything. She has told me before that I need to act more mature as a parent, or I need to, she will call me out on anything. And it's hard sometimes to hear, right? That you're not that your child sees you as like, you're not being this perfect parent. But I don't think there is a perfect parent, right? I just think we all do the best we can. I should have read more parenting books. I'll admit to that. I should have read more parenting books. I really believe that, we all should read tons of parenting book. If I had to do it all over again, I would have a parenting coach, to parent me 24/7. But I do think that we all do the best we can. And, your parents did give you love. I gave my daughter a lot of love, but I didn't feel every single aspect that she needed. And so parenting is the hardest job in the world. And I think when we know better, we do better, but we do the best we can, with what we know.
And part of this work for me was reparenting myself,
Mhm.
because what I'm hearing in your story about your daughter is at a certain point, she recognized she had a need that wasn't being met by you. And she felt safe enough by the love and unconditional support you'd provided her to be able to speak up and ask for her needs.
Mhm.
So part of my early childhood, environment, the people that I was around, it didn't always feel safe to me. I'm looking back. It
Mhm.
didn't always feel safe to me to ask for what I needed.
Mhm.
I didn't want to be in an imposition. I didn't want to bother people. I was afraid people would say no. I was afraid that I was asking for too
Mhm.
much. And so in doing this healing work for myself, part of what I've recognized is I need to use my voice and ask more for what I need from others, as well as, speaking to myself, as kindly and as compassionately as I can, and recognizing I have needs.
Mhm.
I'm allowed to have needs. They may not all get met. They may not get met in this relationship. They may not get met in this friendship. How do I go about meeting them in other ways? Can I meet them? Can others meet them? There's As soon as you start asking questions, or at least when I do in meditation, I find that that's when the universe starts to pour out its abundant resources. It's like, oh, you need more friends? Here's a meetup.
Mhm.
You need a new teacher? Here's an opportunity
Mhm.
for a book, or a
Mhm.
course.
Mhm.
So I definitely agree that speaking up and asking for what you need, I think sometimes that can even be better than a book, because when you have that active communication between two people and getting that feedback, that really sticks with me when I have someone ask me for a change around how we interact, as opposed to, sometimes when you read a book, it's just knowledge, it gets stuck in there. But if you live it out, or have to, practice it, go through it with someone else, when we live it, it becomes more real to us.
Yes, definitely. I wanted to ask you about boundaries because I know you
Oh,
also speak about boundaries and how important was setting boundaries with your healing practice and healing yourself.
oh, yeah. So, um, when let's say, I'm going to use the analogy of your home. I think of our souls are in this home as a body. And a lot of people have an apartment or a house or somewhere they live. So when your home gets invaded in some way, and that could be a burglary, that could be someone coming over unannounced, that could be someone coming to dinner and being obnoxious and you wish they hadn't come. Um, it's pretty annoying. Getting burglarized is extremely annoying. Like, you feel violated. And so I think of boundaries, for myself, is similar to that. Like, I wouldn't just leave all my doors and windows open. I wouldn't just leave my property unlocked and say, let's see what happens.
Mhm.
Um, because if I do that, then I'm sure I'm going to have some unwanted visitors. Now, we've got to do that. I've learned the hard way. I've got to do that for myself as well. So once you get hurt in the emotional world, much like you get your boundary violated in the physical world, you probably get a little vigilant. If someone broke into my house, I'd be like, okay, we need to call the security company. We need an electric gate. We need a moat. We need some alligators.
Mhm.
And same thing, when we get emotionally hurt, we get triggered, angry, whatever it may be, we have a big emotional experience. It's normal and natural to pull back to tend to ourselves. And sometimes we can get into judgment about that. Healing is non-linear. I can't tell you how long it's going to take to grieve something. I can't tell you how long it's going to take to get over something. Everyone's different. I've gone through things fast sometimes, and I've had other things that take a year or two.
So
So,
did the boundaries help you heal?
absolutely, once I recognized that I needed to use my voice and acknowledge what I needed, or let people know when something wasn't comfortable to me, then that helped me honor myself and, again, recognize those needs. I'll give you a for instance. Again, I love my husband. We have an amazing love story. We've been together over a quarter of a century. He is a hopeless romantic, and I'm so grateful that he's crazy in love with me. My husband doesn't always use a lot of words. Obviously, someone else in the household does, this girl. And as a result, I will get dressed up to go out to dinner and I'll come in the living room and I'll be like, hi. And he's like, you ready to go? Not the response I wanted. So, little 8-year-old Laura who wants to feel special and be noticed, that didn't work for her.
And
So
beautiful.
instead, yeah, and beautiful. Yeah, of course we want to feel beautiful or attractive or, we want to
Mm,
feel appealing to our mate at
sure.
whatever level.
Yes.
So instead of me getting mad or pouty or going inward, now that I know what my need is, I can say to him, I think the words you're looking for are, you look amazing, honey. I'm ready to go on the town.
Mm,
I'd love to hear what you think of my outfit. So I'll prompt him. I'll be playful. So I'm not judging him. I'm not mad at him, but in a playful, interactive way, I'm asking him to meet my need, which is I want to feel pretty to him. I want to feel attractive to him.
mm,
And so as a result, then I can get that need met. So to me, asserting your preferences
mm.
is part of assessing those boundaries.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great story. And my daughter, I feel like, well, maybe I would see myself as somebody a little complicated. And the reason I would say that, and my daughter is definitely complicated. So, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The reason I say complicated is because, like, I know what I want. I know what I want, and I'm going to get what I want. I stand up for myself. And I think that's a really good trait, even though maybe it makes you like a little complicated to some people or a little more, but you stand up for yourself. In life, I think it's very important to stand up for what you want and not settle, because, the only time you settle is when you don't speak up and you don't express those needs that you need, and then somebody can't meet them or help you or do better for you. So I have my standards and I am not afraid to say what my standards are. Now, it is important to always come from love, and appreciation, and not from a place of like I demand it. But I really believe, like, in this world, you have to stand for what you believe and what you want in order to get it. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I agree. I would like to offer you a possible word adjustment. I'm a word nerd, and I think all the words they hold vibrations and they
Sure.
mean different things to different people. So I am particular, which means I have certain likes, wants, needs that are unique to me. And like you said, I'm going to ask for them. I'm going to stand up for them. I'm going to hold boundaries around them. I don't think you're complicated at all, Noah.
No.
I think you're very self-aware. I think you know what you want. And that's a great person to work with in a relationship in life. Because if you are, hanging out with someone and you're like, hey, where do you want to go to lunch? I don't know. How about McDonald's? Nah. Wendy's? Nah. That's hard. It takes a lot of effort, but if someone's like, I don't like fast food, all of a sudden you know where to meet them. Okay, let's throw out all those restaurants. Let's look at these. When someone is
Thank you for doing
particular,
that. Thank you for throwing those restaurants out.
yeah, when you're particular, to me, that tells me that you are aware of your preferences and you know how to hold your boundaries. So I think that's a good thing to be.
Yeah, I like that word particular. It's better than complicated. Yeah, I'm definitely particular. I definitely like, okay, when I was giving birth, I would tell the doctors, like their doctor knew, okay, this is my third child, my daughter. She knew already on the way to the hospital. I told her, no C-section. Don't even think about a C-section with me. Like it's never gonna work. And
Mhm.
like my daughter had the cord around the neck, and so she was really worried. So she's driving to the hospital. She's talking to her friend. She's like, "This girl, she said no C-section, and I don't know what to do because." And I already knew. I already created with my words how it was gonna go. I already knew no C-section, no matter what. It's my third child. I'm not having any more kids. There's no way they're cutting me open. There's no way I want to heal from that. I want natural, vaginal delivery, right?
Yeah.
And then she came in and like it was just like out of the space. And I know I created that just by saying that's not even an option. Like it's not an option. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes when we don't stand up for ourselves, like the doctor will do the C-section because it's easy, you know what I mean, for them to cut
Sure.
open. Maybe they get paid more money for it. I don't know what it is, all right? But we have to almost like, how do you say, like, say what's good for us. We have to stand up for
Advocate.
ourselves. Advocate. That's the word I was looking for, Laura. Thank you. I lost
Mhm.
the word. We need to advocate for ourselves, because if we're not advocating for ourselves, who's going to advocate for us?
Mhm. I think that's a huge part of our growth and of our healing is to learn how to advocate for
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. And again, depending on your history, like I said, it wasn't like I was locked in my room or I didn't have any places for self-expression. I just had a sense that there were certain things I wasn't allowed to talk about or say. And now as an adult, I recognize I can choose who I'm around. I can choose my environment. I can advocate for myself. I can say, 5 minutes into a yoga class, this isn't for me. Maybe the culture of yoga is you don't leave a class or it needs to be quiet or you need to be reverent. I can leave quietly, I can leave reverently, but I also can advocate for myself and say, this is not the right thing for me. And I think there's a lot of fear sometimes around setting those boundaries that you're going to lose friendships or you're going to be thought of a certain way. I have the benefit of having uh, my one of my friends gave me this wonderful term when I was 40. She said, "Oh, you're going to love it when you turn 40." She said, "Your give a shitter breaks." And mine broke at 40 and then it got lost at 50, and I'm not ever buying parts for it again. So I have the benefit of not having so much concern about how people view me, but rather am I upholding, like you said, my standards, my goals, my ideals, my beliefs? Am I in alignment? Am I in integrity with me in the way that I'm behaving? And so, yeah, holding those boundaries really to me is an act of self love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like self love is always the answer. We have to love ourselves enough to even do that deep work and to go within ourselves, because, we want to feel better in our lives. We want to feel better in our body. We want to, be able to affect people in a more positive way. Like you said in the beginning, you wanted to heal yourself in a way that also affects other people in a positive way.
Absolutely. Now, I did intentionally sign up for the shadow work workshop that was facilitated by two of my very best friends. They did an incredible job that weekend for our retreat. They showed me some tools and techniques that, again, on the surface seem kind of wild or crazy, but when you do it and it works, it makes you a believer because you live it. And again, there was a lot of ugly crying. There was no makeup. There was a lot of yelling. There was a lot of exhaustion, but part of what you do when you heal is you are literally changing your cells, and emotion gets stored at a cellular level through our whole body. So when we heal ourselves of old, stuck emotions that are not positive, that are not doing us good, we're literally releasing that out of our body. And it can be exhausting. And it can be so liberating. Like, I think I was telling you the other day when we talked before this that when I look back to the person I was last year and now, clothes fit the same, probably the number on the scale, I don't use a scale, is the same, but I feel about 20 pounds lighter because I'm not carrying around all of that old quote unquote baggage or those old ideals about myself. And instead, I'm holding myself tenderly and lovingly and knowing I'm a human being with these needs. I'm allowed to have them and I'm a grown up. I can figure out ways to get them met that are healthy, and again, they're for my highest good and they're for others' highest good.
I love that. And being able to let that shame and guilt go, I think that's what kind of makes you feel lighter. Would you say that's something that really helped you, is to get rid of the shame and guilt from the past?
Oh my gosh, shame, they say fat is denser or fat is not as dense as muscle. And you're all puffed up with it. I have to say that shame makes you super puffy and super heavy. Um, I was thinking the other day when I was talking with a friend who was in the healing space also, and I thought, what would the world look like if we as human beings did not create any shame internally for ourselves and we did not ever get shamed externally? Like how free and amazing we would be, and the possibilities, the things that we could create if we weren't about how failure was perceived, or if we were looking weird, or if someone else didn't like what we were doing. Um, yeah, the hidden beautiful benefit of healing when you get to the other side is the release of those trapped emotions, including shame, guilt, And I think for a lot of women, I'm not going to speak for all women in the world, but from my clients and from others that I know have done shadow work, there's a lot of trapped anger around what went down. When I did some additional shadow work at this retreat, my memories took me through my teen years and my 20 something years. And there was a lot of boundaries that got crossed with boyfriends, with employers, and I never stood up for myself. I didn't really know how to. And I was so angry at them because I perceived them as a bully, but I also was angry at myself. Like, how, like, you should have known better.
Mhm.
How could I have known better? I wasn't quite an adult that I am now. Like, I hadn't had all the learning that I have now. No one trained me how to advocate for myself. I didn't learn that in my schooling. I didn't learn that from people around me. I just went with the flow. I was a people pleaser. So I thought that was the way you worked in the world. And when that anger came up and came through me, man, I felt like I was on fire. I mean, I was sweating, crying. It was very cathartic. And again, when you release trapped emotions, then when they move out of your body, it's amazing how light and how free you feel.
Yes, and you're more in a place of flow, right? More of a place, not only you're not, you're just you moving forward in your life. You no longer feel like you're
Mhm.
stuck or you're hitting a wall, right? You feel like
Yeah.
you're in a state of movement and flow and energy. So I think that's such a good place to be because anytime we're stagnant or there's stagnant energy, it doesn't feel good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm a picture taker. I take lots of pictures of everything. I don't always post everything. It's for me to document my process. And so I have some pictures of me before I went into this retreat, and I have some pictures of me during this process. I took one of me laying on my side with the ugly cry face and the snotty nose. Like, I wanted to document what I was doing for myself to remind myself, you did a really hard thing. This was awful. This was gritty and you did it. You got through it. And then I have pictures of me the next day with my friends, and I can see there's more lightness in my countenance. I can see there's more lightness in my body and the way I hold myself. And so I can see there was transformation. And again, some of the stuff we did probably it seemed like if someone came there and looked around, like I stopped at one point. So my best friend Lita was facilitating the workshop and she taught us several tools. And one of them was pillow slams. So just like a kid throwing a fit, hello, does this sound familiar? You're grabbing a pillow and you are slamming it down on the ground and you are thinking about the things that made you angry and you are getting it all out. You're allowed to be angry in that moment. So I was just wailing away at the floor and then I was exhausted from it. And so I laid down on my side and just looked around the room at all these amazing women who were doing the same with me. Healing in a group is such an incredible thing. And I thought how brave they are to reveal themselves. Some people were sitting and sobbing silently with their hand on their chest, just rocking. Some people were actively like kicking and throwing punches. There were some people that were just screaming, wailing. There was just, and again, part of me not laughing at them per se, but looking at this scene and thinking, this is crazy. This is so wild. This looks hilarious. Like this looks like a crazy skit on Saturday Night Live. And even after I went through all of that anger and processing shame, anger, whatever, all the yucky emotions, I laid there and I started giggling. And again, I wasn't laughing at my friends because I really honor and appreciate their vulnerability and showing their true selves in that moment. But I was giggling at how funny a scene it was that this is what we all needed to finally release that and feel more whole.
Yeah, that's really powerful stuff to be able to and it seems like what we talked about before is that there is so much internal anger that we hold, and that anger can either, once we are able to get it out, it can really help us heal instead of, keep us, in a place of stuck. So I want to ask you about moving on to you're a healer and you do Reiki. Can you talk a little bit about Reiki and how Reiki or other modalities of healing people can use to heal themselves?
Sure, I sure can. I feel really honored that I am part of a 100-year-old plus tradition of Reiki. Reiki was discovered by a man in Japan who asked his guru, his master, meditation master, he wanted to get to enlightenment. And he went to the top of this mountain and he was so committed to it that he thought that he had to die to get enlightenment. And he was down for that. Um, he was there overnight, which was spring equinox. It was on the 21st of March, about 101 years ago. And when he woke up, he fell down the hill and he realized that he wasn't enlightened. He was still alive. He was kind of ticked off. But he ended up putting his hands on what was hurting, which was his leg, and he felt this marvelous flow of energy and he was able to stand up and walk on his leg. So from that, I find it kind of interesting that someone that was willing to die came up with this beautiful modality that was gifted to him. Reiki means life force, God force energy, and it's a energy that is in and around all things, kind of like what you talked about at the beginning. And through a series of ceremonies and rituals, the practitioners are able to call in this energy and act as a conduit. So I'm not doing the healing. Yay, that's good news for you. Instead, I am tapping into God force energy and I'm asking it to come to me and through me, and I am a channel for it. So the person is able to, very much like a massage, lay on a massage table on their back and have the healer places their hands at different places on the body, and there is a flow of energy from one human being to another, with the original source being from above. So I have a lot of clients that say that when they're done, they feel lighter, or they feel more at peace, or they feel like their mind is finally not racing. Reiki works on a mind, body, spirit level. So you can ask Reiki, you can ask, set an intention when you start your session for it to support you in whatever's going on for you. If your knee hurts, if you're heartbroken, if your mind is racing, it can address all of those things. And for each person, the experience is different. Everyone's has different sensitivities to energy. So sometimes I have clients that say, "Oh my gosh, when you put your hands on me, I felt like I was plugged into a wall. I just felt this rush of electricity through my body." And I'm like, "Well, my last name is Wall, so my hands were on you, so you were kind of plugged into me, but I was plugged into something bigger." I have other clients that say they don't feel anything sensation wise, but they'll have visions or they'll have information that drops in where they feel more at peace. I have male clients that I have three different male clients that were formerly in the military. And I don't know if you've ever been around vets, but I think part of their programming is to always be hyper vigilant. And so it's really hard for them to be in their body and to be at rest. And all of them say the same thing. They say, "Ah, man, it was just so nice. Like I just felt like I could really let my guard down and deeply rest, and I feel refreshed." So that to me, I feel very honored that I'm able to serve people in that way. And again, it can support all types of healing, emotional, spiritual, physical. It just is based on your intention. Um, the other things that I do are, a couple of them are for specifically for emotional healing. The first one's called Aroma Freedom Technique. And this is a technique developed by a psychologist named Dr. Benjamin Perkis. And he blends neuroscience with essential oils, aromatherapy, as well as psychological practices. And you are able to, again, like I was telling you, I've got stories or things that are in my big, beautiful brain that got programmed there that are not exactly true, that might limit the way I think. They might affect my mindset. And as a result of using aromatherapy, this aroma freedom technique, I'm able to take my clients through a process where we're able to remodel or release those old limiting beliefs. It's really amazing. And to me, again, God made all the plants, and the plants work really well with the human body. And so it's a very gentle process of transformation. Disclaimer, about 99 times out of 100, there's some tears. So, but I love tears. I feel like that's the body acknowledging that it's releasing what doesn't serve it. And then the other modality I use is something called emotion code. And this was developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He is a chiropractor. And this, again, is a process that helps release trapped emotions at that cellular level. And the technique that I use, I actually do it at a distance. I'm able to work with people intuitively over the phone. I'm able to go into kind of a meditative state where I'm able to connect with them. I ask them a few questions, and then I am able to remotely help them release it. And so it's kind of like the way you trust Wi-Fi. Like Wi-Fi shows up and delivers a signal. That's the way I trust uh, the great unknown, the big cloud in the sky, as well as the power of the divine to work when there is a pure intention for healing. Um, Other things I know that have helped people are uh, EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. It's not something I'm personally trained in, but I have several friends that are, and they speak very highly of it as a way to, for yourself, learn how to release those patterns of trapped energy, of stagnant emotion in the body, and help reprogram the mind. And it's, again, very gentle, non-invasive. You might work with a practitioner and they teach you some things. You may go to them several times, and then you may end up learning just a technique that you're able to do on your own. And again, for every healer that I know out there, there's probably 10 healing modalities that they know of and or practice. So there's so many things out there. And I always encourage people, if something catches your interest and you're curious, that to me is a sign. Go down that rabbit hole, check it out. Does it resonate with you? If you're like, ooh, essential oils. Oh, I love the way things smell, then that might be, a way that you want to approach healing. If you're repelled by something, again, that's your mind, body, spirit saying, not for me, or not for me right now. But again, there's so many different healing modalities out there, and you're a unique individual. So I always tell listeners, clients, trust yourself and honor yourself. And there is a method, a modality, and possibly a healer, coach, or guide out there that can take you through it. And just trust yourself. You know what you need.
Yeah, I love that you gave so many great healing modalities. And I feel like there's, like you said, there's many roads to Rome, right? The main thing is that we do something about it, that we don't just let our emotions take over our body. Because I feel like our emotions are running so much of our lives, And some people completely run their whole life through their emotions, and they're doing nothing to heal themselves and help them get out of their own way. And I think everything is just about getting out of your own way so you can be better, do better, and live a more fulfilling and joyful life. Would you agree with
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's a lot of schools of thought that have been taught or trained to us. I know for me as a woman or someone in a female body, I was taught that emotions were bad, that being emotional was bad. It wasn't respected or regarded, and you should hide emotions. You shouldn't cry. You shouldn't get angry. And to me, emotions are an internal response to our external world. They're just information,
Yeah,
but in our bodies, they are energy. So energy's got to go somewhere. So
exactly.
again, when you're joyful and you have to sit in your chair and you're 5 years old and it's time for recess and you're really excited about it, but your teacher wants to keep you there. Those are the kids that are acting out. They've just got energy in them. They're ready to go.
Right.
Um,
Makes
Same
sense.
thing when you're angry, if you're holding that anger in and you're not releasing it in some cathartic way, it's going to stay there and do things internally to our body. And it's to me, my opinion, that emotions, when they are held, negative emotions, when they're held in the body, they cause destruction. They cause illness. They cause blockages. And like you said, they limit you in being able to move forward. And it does feel like my emotions are running the show. I can't do anything. I'm always angry. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the time has gone by so fast, Laura. How can people connect with you and find you?
Oh, great. Thank you. Two places. The first one would be Instagram, and it's Hearts of Healing Center. And that's plural, hearts, kind of like the gold hearts behind me. I'm on Instagram many times. Try not to let social media run my world. And then the other place that can connect with me is I have several YouTube videos. Some are meditations. I like to do a lot of rituals because they speak to the subconscious and they are a tangible, meaningful way of for us to move energy or to set intentions or to create beauty in our life. And so it's Hearts of Healing on YouTube.
Oh, I love that. I'll have to follow that. Well, Laura, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really feel like we got so enlightened by all the great things you shared today.
Thank you, Noah. I appreciate being your guest and I appreciate the beautiful work that you are doing in the world to help people heal themselves because just like you said, when we heal ourselves, we change who we are and that changes how we interact with others and that does heal the world.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really love to bring incredible people like Laura to share their journey with you so you can help you make better choices and find different modalities to heal yourself. Because it's true, when you heal yourself, you heal the world. Until next time, remember to have a grateful heart, to ground in love and compassion, and know that you're not alone. You're guided by God. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Namaste.